Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Storm Competitive Series. My name is Stickula. Joining me for this wonderful cast tonight will be Jonas Willinger. I'm really excited to delve into this match. We've got a resurgent Hostile Actions taking on the longtime top performer of Lycus Empire. Recently, Hostile Actions, maybe some people like to write them off. I don't know if I would do that. They've had a couple of games where they've looked really good, and some of their individual performances, an area they've really suffered from in the past, has started to see a very strong incline.
Well, Sticula, it is a pleasure to be joining you tonight for my first official SCS cast, so that is super exciting. First night of Hanukkah as well, so great way to celebrate the Jewish holiday. I mean, got some socks from my brother right here. I'm eager to go. I mean, they're fuzzy as hell, the best, fuzziest socks I've ever touched. But listen, this is going to be a great match. I'm super excited for it. I mean, we know it's going to be kind of like an underdog story here with Hostile Actions. We expect that Lycus Empire will, be the dominating team in this match. But just like we saw one match ago, Synthetic, nobody expected them to perform as well as they did. So we could very well see something just as exciting, something of that kind of comeback story from Hostile Actions, and maybe we will.
Yeah, there can be dangerous waters if you come into this game and you expect, as Lycus, to just take a walkover victory. Maybe Hostile Actions have come up with some new strategies. Maybe they've done some film review. Maybe they've just completely changed their playstyle and they found something that works for them. Those kind of elements are not something that you can come in and just sort of be cocky about. You need to come in, play at your hardest, because Lycus, they don't want to lose this game. That does not look good for them. They don't want to slip below any further. There's a very tight race currently going on in the top 6. One thing we can certainly talk about, though, in the map ban phase is the presence of Theme Park, which is a map that we almost never see. And it's especially awkward for Lycus to have come through and let it stay in the pool, because we commonly see them ban Theme Park, often in their first ban.
Yeah, this is going to be a great one to see play out, because Theme Park, you rarely get the pleasure of casting that map, just because it seems that everyone unanimously agrees to just hate the map. So excited to see that one and see exactly what Hostile Actions is going to bring to the table there, especially because they did choose that, of course. And then of course we've got Clubhouse, stock standard, your T3 map, your really all of Siege map, your number 1 pick there. So we're gonna see, the usual basic stuff on Clubhouse, but one positive I like to talk about when we go to a map like Clubhouse is you really get to see who's the better team, because Clubhouse is one of those maps that's just played every single time, and so it's a great comparison point between those two teams.
You look at the seasonal history, they have played Theme Park just that one time, and it was fairly close. So, not the strongest map in the pool, not something to, hide and cherish, but you kind of have to make do. And sometimes leaving a trick map up in play like a Theme Park can give you the leg over a team like Lycus Empire. And perhaps that's what they need in order to send them forth in this. In their previous week's matchup, we saw them take on Redux Rising, who in that match, some described them as being kind of a crippled roster. They had lost some of their strong players, and they were making a few changes. That was very close. It almost used all 12 rounds in both maps as far as regulation goes. It was 7-5 in the first Hostile Actions, and then they actually managed to net a win, which was a big surprise for even a weakened Redux Rising, because, as I mentioned, people like to write Hostile Actions off. There is this big dynamic about, the strong teams in SCS being really good and the weak teams not performing so well. And you can't forget that over the course of the season, Hostile Actions, they have lost. There is value in those losses. When you lose a game, you're taught a lesson. And you have an opportunity, if you use it and use the right mental game, really, in the psychological aspect, you can improve from those lessons and then come through in the latter half of the season and show an improved version of your team.
Well, you talk about that mental game, and I think that is going to be a particular focus for Lycus Empire tonight, because as we know, they are coming off a loss at the hands of Wichita Wolves. I believe that was in our previous match. And so coming off that loss, of course, it is the Wichita Wolves. They are a dominant team in this league. They're going to maintain that number 1 spot right now. But coming off a loss and coming off a recent string of losses for Lycus Empire, even going into a match against Hostile Actions, a team you would expect to beat, you really can't be certain exactly what to expect. Whether this team is you know, maybe in a little bit of a rut right now, or maybe simply something wasn't just clicking right last time. They're going to have to solve those things. I mean, yes, it is Wichita Wolves. Yes, that is a good team and a tough team to beat. But you're coming off a loss regardless, and tempers can flare. You know, your strategies can get muddled because you're like, oh, do we have to change something? It didn't work. You know, this is where they could struggle tonight. And that is exactly what Hostile Actions are going to have to capitalize on. And I think heading to Theme Park is the perfect way to do that. Bringing out that, you know, wild card pick, bringing out the pick that nobody has, you know, a wealth of experience on, could be exactly what Hostile Actions need to get that momentum going in this match tonight, and really just, you know, take a map off of, you know, the powerhouses of Lycus Empire here.
And what I like to mention is the impact of this match. Obviously, Hostile Actions are going to have a very difficult time making it even to that top 6 position, but there's also an opportunity to deal another blow, not only to the mental, as you mentioned, Lycus having a string of losses, they don't want to face another one here, and they have to get back in their game, but also the playoffs race that I talked about earlier. In these top 6 positions, from the top to the bottom, there's a 17-point differential, which seems like a lot, but every day that you play in SCS, there are 6 potential points that you can take. And so if you do the math there, you just need to have 3 successful play days, and that puts you within reach of that top position, something that Lycus do not want to tempt, especially when, because of these strong performances we've seen consistently from Wichita, they look untouchable in the first place currently.
I really like the point you made about how close this can really get. And, you know, because those margins can be made up in a week or two, like, you have to be on your toes at all times. And Lycus Empire cannot get complacent where they stand right now, tied for second place, or just in that second place position. They need to continue to put up numbers, continue to win some rounds. And tonight, at least most of our staff here at SCS think that they will take this one. But I did not get my prediction through. I do think they will take it, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer than I think they would like.
Yeah, I think this is really just a testament. We know Lycus, we know how they perform. They're a strong team. I do have some intel. Recently, Lycus have had a bit of a bumpy road in scrims. Things have not been going, you know, totally according to plan. There's been a few not roster changes, but role moves. So I think what we've seen, I'm not sure if this is going to translate into today's game. Call, the sort of flank watch, support, flex here and there player, is actually moving to Fragger. He's going on entry, which is a weird change. We've seen Lycus kind of shuffle around who's on frag. Earlier in their composition, you had Search. He was the main entry, and then he got dropped and replaced by Beezer and Psycho, who performed sort of an entry duo. And then you had Defiance, who played a very aggressive entry, kind of Ying Ash role. And now, as they've had some recent moves picking up Twist in place of Lethal Gamage, who's still LFT as far as I know, there are some obvious changes there. And so you need to look at this game. Lycus have got to get their footing back, because if they're going to make these changes, you need a strong result here today in SCS for Week 8 to exemplify and illustrate why that change was necessary.
I also think you make a great point there, Sticula, and I think, you know, seeing how the night plays out is going to be a really good indication of what we can expect from Lycus Empire going forward. I think we've talked about it a little bit already, how this could be a potential turning point for them. I mean, if they don't pick this up, that is a serious problem for them. That casts a lot of doubt on their ability to work together as a team and come off some tough losses. But, you know, we do expect them to perform well tonight, and that's why, you know, it's their match to lose, really. I mean, anything where they show a bit of weakness, I think teams are going to pounce on. They're going to look right at that and be like, okay, we have to take advantage of what, you know, Lycus Empire are putting forward right now. They have some gaps, they have some chinks in their armor, and we are going to jump on that as best as we can.
So we sort of discussed the maps earlier from a surface level. I kind of want to go more in depth here. So as far as the bans, the vetoes, nothing really sticks out to me. I mean, Consulate is sort of weird. Lycus have played it recently, not to their best performance. In AEL, they beat DVX on the map. Then they lost to Wichita, I believe, coming to Consulate. So it's kind of a rocky road. The map is not totally certain, and they basically describe it to me as kind of their pickup map, their ranked map. You come onto it, Braction or Defiance, they'll call an audible strat, and they basically just come up with something on the fly, versus the other maps in the pool where their strats are more well-defined and they kind of have a clearer identity on the map. I think we're about to get into the first map. Clubhouse is only moments away. We'll get into it. It's a good map to kick us off here. A nice little palate cleanser before we get into the wonderful treat that is Theme Park. Any initial expectations as far as operator bans?
Well, I think we could probably outline the entire thing. I mean, it's Clubhouse. You've got your stock standard bans. I expect to see the Thatcher, the Maverick off the board, the Kaid to follow, and then maybe that the final defensive ban is where you can mix it up a little bit. The Valkyrie, the Malusi, really wherever you want to stick it. But the first ban, it will indeed be the Thatcher. No surprise there. I don't think any of us are shocked. Now, the second ban, I would expect to see the Maverick, but Hibana has seen that change. The buff, a large buff at that, especially for getting the hatches, because of the new way you can only use, 2 to 4 or all 6 pellets at the same time. So I think teams are going to start to ban that Hibana and leave the Maverick on the board. And look at that. It will be the Hibana ban next.
You're dead right, and that Hibana is so deadly. It's impossible nearly to impact Tricker X Kairos, especially when you play on the basement. The basement hatches are so important to making sure that you don't just simply get flooded on your bomb site, and so removing the Hibana is almost a must. One thing that you will probably see is a lack of the Kaid ban, because you still have the Maverick in play. Yes, Thatcher is removed, so you can't rely on those EMP grenades to remove the Electro Claws, but you can still get the walls open pretty guaranteedly because you've got the Surrey Torch to be able to open things up. And in fact, we'll still even see the Kaid ban. So the Maverick is not really a factor in the decision-making process here for the final ban coming through from hostile actions. Well, another very common one. And with the Kaid ban, with the Maverick on the board, I think it's probably going to be a fairly even-sided game. You've got the Wamai removed, so you can't rely on that old sort of utility catcher style of meta, because you've only got Jaeger's ADSs to protect you. And because the Maverick is still on the board, that gives the attackers just a little bit more leverage. And so there isn't, that sort of wait inside the objective for the attackers to finally kick off their execute, get the walls open, and push on in.
I really love to see the Wamai ban, because the Wamai ban is one of those bans that really shakes up the meta. And it did that in the previous season, but in this season, since Neon Dawn has come out, I think it has changed up the meta even more when we see those Wamai bans. And of course, we are seeing those bans a little bit more frequently, but that is just all the more important just because how much the meta can shift when you see the Wamai off the table. Losing those magnets, you have to rely solely on the Jaeger for your projectile denial. And with that Jaeger nerf, or some are calling it, not fully a nerf, but I'd consider it a nerf. You're changing up the way Jaeger works in a big way, and that is allowing teams to get decisive with those pushes, go straight on into sight, and not wait for the 20-second meta. And, as someone who is a caster in Rainbow Six Siege, I welcome any change to the 20-second meta. I would love to see some action come through a bit early on. And just in the matches that I have casted since the patch, I do think we have seen a little bit of a shift already, getting away just a bit from that 20-second meta. And of course, attacking squads. They are very well used to how to approach a site with the timing in mind to get the 20-second execute going. So we are going to continue to see that no matter how the meta changes, but the opportunities present themselves now. There are the chances you need to jump onto that site early and maybe get a quick plant down. And so I think it's those really, stacked teams, the better rosters with support staff backing them, who can really decide to revamp their attack strategies and go for something a bit more direct. And I cannot wait to see that.
Talk about going direct. Here we'll have Defiance get underway with the vertical play. An explosion detonates above him within logistics, possibly hostile actions. Waiting for an opportunity to shut this down. It's Peeps up there holding off the vertical play. As long as he can just remain up here, this is a pretty good guarantee about a time waste. You've got the Vigil, who's also a bit of a roaming concern, though it looks like he's actually down in the bomb site. So who knows what we'll see Limbo do in this round. Peeps will rotate back deeper within Cache, ostensibly now paving the way for Lycus Empire to resume the vertical play. Dom will miss a critical Nitro cell. That's one big piece of the explosive utility already gone. Him taking a bit of damage in that kitchen floor fight, and they'll rotate to play safely. The Vector, not the best gun to fight in those long-range fights. You've got Call posted up inside of Dirt, looking to apply some pressure. Oh, here we go. Braxton opens it up, kills Limbo. He was not expecting the Maverick way up above.
Well, the good early pick there going in the hands of Lycus Empire. That is surely the way to start Clubhouse on your attack. We are seeing them go for this more direct approach and not really bothering to do the roam clear. And when you're against an SSG-style roam, that is exactly what you need to do. But 2 frags come on the board for Hostile Actions. Defiance will answer back, taking down Peeps. But that is exactly the response that Hostile Actions needed now, with about 50 seconds to go, keeping this even in a 3v3. We will have one player sneaking their way up into Dirt with some support from that kitchen hatch. We do have the goo mine detonating on main stairs, so that's going to be Devils fully aware of where this push is coming from, but now going to have to figure out a way to counter it. Now 30 seconds to go. Braxton still prone here in Dirt, looking through that mirror window that has been perfectly provided. Going to do quite a bit of damage there to Dom, but now waiting. 20 seconds on the clock. Dom finds one. That's going to be a 2v3 now, and then Zag finds another. It's going to be all up to Braxton. He's going to push on in Dirt. Looks for something. He has the information because of the black mirror, but can he capitalize? He will. He'll find one, and now he's got 2 more to find, but 10 seconds left. He whips out the pistol, looks for the shots on one, but it will be denied, and Hostile Actions will take round number 1.
Very sloppy execute there from Lycus, failing to capitalize on either the rush or the roam clear. It seems they tried to do a mix of both, and pushing on to the objective, they suffered heavy losses. The attrition began to stack up. Lycus looked very hesitant to push further in their execute, and ultimately, that gave Hostile Actions kill after kill with no trade to be found. Rather than heading up to CCTV after this staunch basement victory, will instead now move to the tertiary bomb site. Possibly Hostile Actions looking to double down on their earlier successes by going to an untested bomb site, something that Lycus may not be fully prepared for. You would expect the rotation if you're going to go to the basement first 2, immediately then head to CCTV, with Hostile Actions wanting to play that strongest bomb site to get the 2-0 lead in the round count. But I think going to Gym now could certainly work out. Lycus Empire play a very well-rounded operator lineup, so even in heading to this tertiary objective, it's hard to catch them off guard with missing certain operators. You've still got the Ace, you've got the Maverick, so getting open the CCTV and Jacuzzi walls should not be too dramatic of a concern. You've also got plenty of soft breach, which isn't super important inside of the A and B bomb sites itself here in Gym, but it is paramount when you have to go for this full extension clear.
Well, personally, I love to see Jim on the board earlier than expected, because this is exactly how to continue to keep the upper hand on defense. Attacking squads have well practiced attacking CCTV. Yeah, it's a strong defensive site, but with knowing that, attacking squads are practicing this over and over and over again. And when you head to Gym, I often see attacking teams kind of, it takes them a bit longer than usual to realize, that they have to attack Gym, that they have to get that clear going from the other side. And sometimes that, slight time advantage in catching the attackers off guard is exactly what you need to do, especially if you expect, Lycus Empire to be the stronger team here. And I think that's exactly what Hostile Actions are going to continue to do all night. Keep up the mental game, keep changing things around when Lycus might not be expecting it, because that is exactly how you keep the upper hand and possibly, just get that slight margin that helps you get that edge going into each round now. But with 2 seconds now remaining on this clock, with a minute eaten away, we do see the Jacuzzi wall opened wide, with that attacking pressure starting to build from there. No Hostile Actions defenders rather presenting themselves just yet to any picks, but they are going to have to wait for this push to come through. The Vulcan shield will get detonated as the sledge now sneaks up into bathroom. This could be a fight here with the Jaeger, as Defiance will be supported by that drone from Hourly. They know exactly where this Jaeger is. He'll go for the swing, and he'll find the headshot. He'll look for the second, pre-firing, but will not matter just yet, as Peeps will play this a bit more passively. Oh, I lied to you. He'll swing right back into that one. But I do believe there's a player on the bed or on the rack in Gym trying to establish some tight high angle here. Defiance taking quite a bit of shots now, as he will get taken down by one. Limbo connecting that one. Braxton will answer back on a Devils. Dom with the response. Now a 3v3, or a 3v2 rather, as Defiance has hit the floor.
Gonna have to get in and get this revive off with 60 seconds. So the defenders' positions are well understood. Covered by Call out on the balcony, now moving this into a 3v2. Lycus preserve their advantage with the rotates covered. Call still sits on the mattress, getting red pinged inside of Master though. Clearing the intel will be paramount. This is Hostile Action's main advantage, but with the diffuser going down, things will quickly shift directions. You've only got one player left. Dom on low HP, he's watched by Call, and his life is ripped away. Lycus Empire successful in a one-dimensional push. A big rarity here, but it works out wonders.
Well, we almost saw Jim work just the way it was supposed to. That one-dimensional push, like you said, it rarely works. You're not establishing those crossfires. You're not getting, the vice grip on that site that you need to be establishing early, but it ended up working out just fine. They prevailed in their ones, and if you're going to win your ones, well, there's a good chance you're going to take the objective, and that is exactly what they did there. It worked out perfectly. Hostile Actions, it really looked like they might be able to take that one. They had the time and the man advantage on their side, but the push in at the last second by Lycus, just a bit too strong for them to stave off. So a good effort, a valiant effort, trying to, get in Lycus's heads just a little bit, but it did not work. And now to respond to that, they will be heading back over to CCTV and Cash, where we expect them to head over to.
Yeah, the risky gamble, it didn't work out, and Lycus with a big demonstration of not the most common gym attack, but one that certainly was effective. The linchpin, as you mentioned, you have to get control of Jacuzzi Wall and then crush the defender's presence inside the bathroom. If you skip that, you're never going to get into gym. You're never going to get into Master, and your plant is going to likely be quickly denied. Hostile Action looked confused about what they wanted to do. Perhaps they were expecting that split push and not for so much manpower and so much resources to be dedicated to the Jacuzzi Wall take. Going to CCTV now, Lycus have got to come up with something. Send this back, get their one-up advantage, rather than let Hostile take another one of these defenses. You still got the same operator lineup. Lycus just know what they want. They have the soft breach, they have the hard breach to get open the walls. Hostile Actions don't really rely way too much on something like a bandit trick on the platform wall, because they understand here in T3, if you try to do that, it is not going to be long-lived. The Maverick trick is underway. Braxton moving much more quickly now that Hourly isn't on the Surrey torch. You'll remember from games past, he was not exactly the most efficient with that torch. But they should have this wall open swiftly, and with that, a massive amount of pressure to begin mounting towards the Hostile Actions defense.
Well, you mentioned the difficulty with the Surrey torch, so we'll struggle for a moment, but finally getting that one open, and Kyle will complete that with the impact grenade. So now we're taking a look at this two-pronged approach. We've got the plat wall open. Your next objective, pick where you want to approach from. Do you want to take rafters, or do you want to take construction? It appears that Twiz, he's going to have his mind on taking construction, as Defiance will be joining that push from logistics as well. The nade tossed through. I don't believe it found its target, as Hourly will be joining that push to get those Selma charges onto that logistics wall. First Vulcan shield will get detonated here, as Devils continues to look for any traction here. Gonna actually go for the impact trick on the Selmas. I'm not sure if it did connect or not. I believe it actually did. So that is going to be only one Selma charge remaining in the pocket of Hourly. And if they don't, figure out something here, that is going to really stall out this construction-sided push. There's no resistance in Master right now. They could very well just walk through Master and take construction from the door, but they're not opting to do that. They're really focusing hard on logistics here, and that's costing them quite a bit of time. Braxton will find the nade onto Devil, so that's going to give them the traction that they needed here in round number 3. With 50 seconds to go, this execute still is nowhere to be found.
Limbo holding below, waiting on stage to deny any hard breach. But here's the news. Hourly is out of Selmas, and Braxton is very unlikely to play close on that wall with the knowledge that he'll probably be denied. And look, the wall is soft. Hostile Actions are playing sort of a loose hold strategy. This is something we've seen come up more recently. Oh, here we go. The Goyo is spotted through the floor. Defiance gets that pick. He looks to inch up even further. One player on rafters. Plenty of rotates if he wants to escape the objective. Wrapping around the corner, Limbo is battled inside of top red. 2 huge kills for Call, as it's a flawless round from Lycus Empire, demonstrating excellence here on the top house.
That was Indeed, excellent. I mean, we didn't get to see a ton of it just because it came down all in the same exact second, and that is simply why it was so good. They made the call 3, 2, 1, execute. They all storm into sight, and there was nothing hostile actions could do about it. It was a clean, decisive push, and despite having a slower approach to the site than you would normally see, struggling to get the construction pressure going, it didn't seem to matter when it came down to the wire. When the execute came through, it was Lycus who just won their gunfight simply because of perfect coordination, timing. That is what you love to see. Often we see teams, maybe the round prior wasn't as clean, but it was still a win. That one was clean, and it was a flawless round delivered by Lycus to the poor hostile actions who really just could not figure out a way to lock down either of those top floor sites. And that means we will be headed back to Church and Arsenal. Hostile actions going to look to continue some of that success that they had last time. SSG Rome style looks like it will be going down in some way, but possibly a little bit of a modification, not using those reinforcements on the jacuzzi side wall for the time being.
Hostile Action's going to opt to bring this strat into play once again. The vertical play that they tried to work with inside logistics, I don't think really paid off for them. We saw there was, some shots expended here or there. Ultimately, Lycus, maybe it slowed them down enough, and that's what caused so many problems on that round. Hostile Actions, though, have got to be concerned if Lycus try to go for that same rushing push. They're going to take early control, moving in from Strip Club, looking to lock off the western corridor. One player holding very aggressively. You're likely to say that's Limbo waiting at the top main stairs. Call with the lifeline out will now open up a section of the strip wall so that he can get an angle inside of Billiards. The Mute Jammer presents quite a substantial issue here. If they want to get the jacuzzi wall open, they'll have to find another way to clear this out, whether that's from the gym bedroom window or some other hidden way. We'll have to wait and see. The drone moves in, and it seems like it has been cleared. No idea where from just yet, but with that wall open, now all of the defenders are forced to rotate back. A lot of pressure is being established here on the top floor that should constrict their roam, forcing it back down to the objective. And good timing here for Lycus as well. Nearly a minute and 50. Still, it looks like there's a few remnants of this hold, but with so many attackers coming from every angle, they're likely to fall back in the coming moments.
Well, right now we are going to see the new play this a bit smart here, but that right there was the fatal decision. He stayed just a bit too long, and Defiance will deliver the fatal blow. Now a 4 versus 5. This is not how you wanted to kick it off if your hostile actions fall back to sight. It is better to play your life than play the red stairs, especially when a minute and a half are already burned off the clock. But here's the difference we're seeing right now from Lycus Empire. It was not the direct lock off main corridor and go straight down into Arsenal. It was a methodical roam clear approach. This time, opting for that style has paid off in dividends. They found not only one player, but they took Peeps down to very low HP there. He's only got about 25 HP left to hold down this anchor, and when this 20-second execute comes down, we know how decisive it can be. It very well may be the end of Peeps if they are not careful here. So now with the Moto hatch open, we are going to see Defiance continuing to pressure Arsenal from above, Swiss cheesing the floor, but we do have a sneaky Devils trying to come up from behind and work a flank. Hourly finds one in the meantime, so is Devils going to be too little too late? Only time will tell, but he will get shut down by Braxton. Fully aware of that push. Defiance has another one. That's the Legion off the table. It is just Dom remaining, and he will get decisively eliminated. Lycus Empire with another flawless round on Clubhouse.
That's 2 in a row. Not looking good for them. Here we go. Twist moving in from the blue stairs. Nice little flourish on that final kill. But Lycus, with the perfect adaptation, they recognize that hostile actions love their roam. They wasted far too much time up there, and you said it perfectly. Zag on red stairs long overstayed his welcome, and the additional pushes, the members of Hostile who continued to push up, trying to reclaim areas of the map that were not rightfully theirs, punished them and left them on the objective with minimal manpower in order to stave off what remained from the Lycus attackers. That attempted flank cost them so much, And that's the risk you take in a roam like that one. Maybe if he had rotated to the main stairs, things would have played out differently. But when you're in that position, a 3v5, and you're that one off site, you know what can happen. The impact of your death. Leaving your last two teammates on the site versus a full strength Lycus push, you have to get something working for yourself. And you need to take a risk like that. It's a big gamble. It could have worked off, but ultimately, Lycus will take it in dominant fashion. And that's 2 for them now. Their attacks are working wonderfully. On their opponent's map pick, hostile actions have got to shift gears.
Well, we talk about this SSG roam all the time because every team likes to try their hand at it. But what you have to remember about the roam is that is the big time waste roam. The #1 objective of that strategy is to waste time. That's why you're putting mute jammers, Mozzie pests, and so many reinforcements on that top floor. But the end goal of that round is to turn it into a turtle strat. You need all 5 members back on site. You don't need them, of course, but your goal is to spend 1.5, 2 minutes off the clock with that clear, slowly rotating back to site, and then forcing it into a full 5v5. Who is going to win? And with 5 defenders on the board, with a time dwindling away on the basement site, it is very hard to attack, even for Lycus Empire. But if you're going to hand them the man advantage round after round, they will take it from you, and they will do so decisively as we're getting into round number 5.
Back to the gym hold again here. We saw this was dominated by Lycus's Jacuzzi push, which worked out excellently. This time we'll see the use of a mirror window is deployed to watch out onto the balcony, hoping to stall their angle. We've got Devils holding aggressive. The shoulder peek, and Nade will fly in. Lucky for the mirror. He survives the first and will too for the second. Rotating out here as he attempts to peek the hallway. He's caught out by an angle from Call. And now Lycus Empire have moved quickly. Jaeger is eliminated as Master Control will fall under their auspices. It's not a second, but the trade is in from Braction up on the logistics hatch. Limbo and Peeps in a 2v4. Not another flawless round for Lycus, but something of that ilk. The floor holes are still being used, angles through the wall with the effort to try and deny the plant, but you have such little manpower that it's going to be tremendously difficult. Peeking up through the hatch, Call is found, so now at least the manpower is not so sufficient in the favor of Lycus. A 2v3, the plant will begin.
Now with the plant going down, still very early in this round, that's exactly what you have to do. Peeps looking for the kill, will swing and find it. That's going to be Hourly hitting the floor, now a 2v2. Peeps goes for the shots, but that's going to be Twiz. He's going to connect it first. And now it's a 2v1. Limbo in a retake situation, the time running off the clock, but the Vulcan shield has detonated in the middle of the hallway, and there's not a lot that Limbo can do about this push. He'll swing through the fire, but that is an impossible fight to take. Now 20 seconds on the clock. A mirror window working against the defenders, and know exactly where the Ash is positioned, and the headshot delivered, and now you're gonna have to find one more, but the time is simply gone. Off the clock, you don't have enough time. Pad the KD is all you can do, and that round will once again go in the favor of Lycus Empire with the finishing kill delivered by Braction.
A little bit better played there from hostile actions. Up they went over the edge of the trench and still tried to fight. But the kill we saw, the Goyo trying to take down Twist coming through the gym door. That frag could have shifted the entire course of this round and given hostile actions the opportunity to try and kill who was left and get that defuse off. Unfortunately for them, the player on the main stairs was entrapped by his own teammate's utility. The Vulcan shield detonated, obstructed his path, and forced him into Lycus's jaws. With a perfect crossfire established, one player holding passively inside logistics, the other unknown to the final defender, and to us as well. He got the kill that was necessary, and even despite their extraneous effort, it'll be another round in the bag for Lycus, who look like a completely different beast so far this map of Clubhouse, and have a substantial bank of momentum moving next into this repeat Arsenal defense.
Well, we're going to have to take note of the differences that hostile actions are going to bring. Hopefully not going to make that same mistake, overstaying their welcome just a little bit too long. That tiniest mistake can really just cascade into a huge problem, especially against a team as strong as Lycus have proven to be tonight. On Clubhouse, 4-1 on attack. this is a winning position for Lycus. Usually you expect to go 4-2 in the favor of the defense. Sure, we are seeing the meta swing a little bit more in favor of the attackers, but 4 rounds on attack is never the place you want to start. Limbo on a little spawn peek. He will pick up Braxton, the Maverick. The hatch opener Lord will be the first to fall, but Defiance is going straight on into sight. He'll sledge on opening the church, and there's nobody here to contest, but there it goes from the cross. He was not aware. We got the rush from Twiz as well. He'll find Just Dom after Just Dom found the kill onto Defiance, but now Call is going for the plant. There's 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in this round, and the diffuser is hitting the floor already.
Gonna reattempt it again after previously bailing off. His rotate to hide behind Black Box doesn't prevent his death. It's a down onto the Mozzie, but a quick trade here by Zag. He's got an opportunity. Kill the final player or the choice to revive his teammate. The diffuser, lucky for them, isn't down, so you can't disable it and end this round. Peeking around the corner hourly, searching for this kill. The shift W from the mute will fail and cause his death, but a wrap around the corner from the Legion. An attempted rush falls flat. Lycus will not secure the 5-1 half as Hostile Action's desperate spawn kill and the failed rush ultimately paves their way to a round 6 win.
I honestly think the rush call was made well before this actual spawn peak kill. I think maybe they saw an opening in blue, and there was one. I mean, there was no utility. There was no player there. The roamers were in their positions off site. So a rush down oil pit, a rush down secret. I mean, they got in there, and it didn't work out so well, I guess, in the end. They, forced it a little bit too much. The rotating roamers coming down from secret, because they came down just in time, just as the kill went down onto the planting Zofia. It was just about over at that point. It was a good attempt, a cheeky attempt by Lycus Empire, but Hostile Actions will not be fooled by that kind of strategy, and they will go into the second split in a 2v4 disadvantage. Now, this is, of course, heavily in favor of Lycus right now. 4-2, starting your defensive half is more than a secure position to be in. However, we saw how successful Lycus was on their attack, and Hostile Actions are definitely within their right to do the same. Of course, they do have their work cut out for them here, but I'm not going to put it past them quite yet if we see something promising in these first couple rounds.
Here we go, bit of an interesting strategy, something that I haven't seen yet. Twist with Jaeger ADSs stacked up inside the bathroom will deny the long haul angle, so we've got a variant of the SSG roam with some interesting new elements being incorporated. Hourly will set up the traditional castle barricades that you would expect. One on the billiards door. The single door is, I guess, a bit of a change to support this position, the shielded ADS protected position inside of the bathroom. You've also got reinforcements deployed on the stock wall, and I think footholds opened by Hourly in the skull wall. I'm not sure if that's a rotate or something else, but it's Limbo who will claim the opening frag. Braxton inside the bathroom is shut down through the drone hole. Great game knowledge there from him, and that means this bathroom position with so much utility will now quickly be felled.
Well, that's an interesting position to hold. It really stops anybody trying to go for that more aggressive take. So this is the perfect counter to attackers trying to do the shortcut when you see something like an extended SSG roam coming into play. But, like you said, it did not work for Braxton here so far in round number 7. He got shut down early by some beautiful play from the sledge, and that's exactly what Hostile Actions are going to have to continue to do if they want to mount this pressure and really make Lycus Empire feel their force and maybe make Lycus go on the back foot here. Because right now, even with that disadvantage, we are going to see Defiance playing very aggressive here in a do or die position of Freezer. This is a one way you cannot escape. If you get sussed out, like he will now by this drone, you will very unlikely escape this position without dying. Maybe you can pick up a frag on your way, but this is an almost impossible situation for him to escape. Delaying time is the only thing he can do at this point.
Looked like Zag maybe was going to take that defensive position with the shield to his own advantage. A run out here from Defiance. It looked like he tried to escape through the freezer door. He was cut down quickly by Devils, there's no room for a gamble like that, and now with the Melusi dead, Hostile Actions have this 5v3. They're able to apply a lot of pressure down onto the objective in a similar fashion to what we saw when that roam from Hostile Actions went down on their defense for this site. Still got the drone moving in, clearing some remainder utility, but with all those ADSs dedicated upstairs, with the Wamai being banned, you are incredibly vulnerable to any projectiles that Hostile Actions may choose to use. And check out how many of them that you have. 2 frag grenades from Limbo could very mean at least 1 kill. Still got a player holding close within Church. Do they understand this? It doesn't look like it. He should be shut down, at least traded out here, moving things into a 4v2. A gas canister tossed out to try and stall this. Will reveal his position, and let's talk about the stall factor. Another kill goes back and forth, though Peeps with the advantage. Hourly will try to retake, moving into Church. The time may be low, but Hostile Actions with a mountain of a man advantage. The final kill is theirs and underway. Lycus will not win with their extension strategy.
Yeah, that was a decisive attack from Hostile Actions, and like I said pre-round, if we can see something promising from them here, I am not going to count them out at all, and I think that is exactly what we just witnessed. They really decisively took control of the map. They eliminated the very strong position that Braxton was attempting to hold. Then they eliminated the extremely over-aggressive Defiance, who was just kind of vibing in kitchen. Like I said, that was a do-or-die, very hit-or-miss situation for the Melusi, and they penalized that over-aggressive play, and they used that man advantage to just pour on into the site, double swing every angle, play those trades, and it worked out perfectly. And that is exactly what you need to do when you're attacking Church. But now our focus will be shifting over to Gym and Master. The tertiary bomb site once again coming in as the second pick for these teams. I'm loving what we're seeing here. I love changing up the meta, and that is exactly what it appears that Lycus and Hostile Actions are both starting to do here tonight with this hold. I suspect we are going to see that extension towards cache and CCTV, but something to take note of on those Lycus attacks, they never pressured from the cache side. They had very one-dimensional approaches, but it ended up working out very well for them. You come in logistics, you open Jacuzzi Wall, and you just focus directly on the site from there.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Reinforcement on the construction wall. This makes me think that Lycus aren't putting too much stock inside of their CCTV extension. Usually, a big indicator of whether or not you're going to have your defense set up an extension will be leaving that wall soft so that you can hold a crossfire and make sure that one of the attackers just simply doesn't rush in through the CCTV to cache door. I think we'll see more pressure put on logistics, though Braxton will have strange bedfellows emerging from the hatch as it's now open. This is some pressure they could apply. It's uncertain whether or not Twist has deployed any ADSs to protect Braxton inside logistics, but with only 3, you really need to stack those up inside of Gym so that you can protect whoever is trying to keep that wall closed. But with the mute on the board, I don't think we're going to see an active trick on that wall. The CCTV hold and the lack of the cache extension will allow Hostile Actions to move quickly, applying a lot of pressure. They'll have to worry about the guns of Defiance and Braxton, holding them off from entering construction without any additional logistics hatch pressure. If they can clear logistics and apply pressure to take control of construction, Hostile Actions have a great way and a strong avenue to move into the site.
Well, we're going to have to see which avenue they are going to pick here. They do have a couple of options available to them, but it does appear that it right now will be mainly focused on construction. They will be using that Selma to open up that wall, and Peeps will find Defiance, who was getting overly aggressive in construction. Seems to be the story of this map for Defiance, just not in the most ideal positions, that micro positioning not paying off super well, but the flank from Twist will find one, and that's going to be Zag, the Capitao, the next to fall. So it's a 4v4 now with a minute to play, and you still have Twist to worry about. You still have the Jaeger to clear, and he is proving to be just too elusive right now. Peeps has then rotated around from that construction window position to go pressure out, trying to find this roamer, but Braxton in the meantime will pick up the headshot onto Limbo. So with 45 seconds to go, it is Hostile Actions on the back foot as Kyle will find another, dropping down the Zofia, and now it is a 2 versus 4 to make this execute happen.
Devils on low HP does not bode well for the rest of this attack, and the flank coming out from Twist drug away their attention from the execute, forcing them to address an additional concern. That's even more damage off of Devils now. He's likely to die from a single bullet or even be injured. Mine, should he attempt to move in and apply the master bedroom push. Hourly with the window kill will eliminate Dom, and it's just Devils left. One quick shot from Call, the SMG-11. Will steal out the end of this round. It's a success on Jim. The tertiary bomb site, even despite not holding the cache extension, still works out in their favor because of a strong Lycus trade game.
I mean, they just played that man advantage and they kept it for the rest of the round, even though Defiance was that early pick for hostile actions. Lycus Empire, they didn't get flustered. They played it patient, and they just continued to make hostile actions get a bit flustered. You know, they couldn't really find their ground on that approach. And Lycus Empire, they just looked really good holding down that tertiary bomb site. So that's going to enable them to, you know, have their pick of either CCTV or Church after that unsuccessful first attempt at Church. So they will be heading downstairs once again. And now we are going to have to keep an eye on this hold and if they're going to change it up a bit, if Braxton is going to opt for that more aggressive play. But seeing exactly what they're bringing to the table, they're not going to bring that Legion. So it's possible that that won't be the option. But you do have the mute. You do have that information denial, so Braxton may be opting to use that on somewhat of an extended roam. We are having Defiance on the Malusi once again, so the Wub-Wubs will come into play, but Defiance is going to have to start, you know, positioning just a bit more passively here on defense. The aggressiveness on attack, it worked off well, but transitioning over to the defensive half, so far, he's been an early pick and really hasn't been too much of help to this defense so far.
Lycus will not opt to reattempt their very utility-focused middle floor hold on this basement defense. You do have some drone denial on the top floor. I think that's just from Braxton to try to slow down the hostile actions take, rather than confront the attackers on the top floor with gun in hand. Braxton will rotate back down further, giving us more intel about what this defense will be. And I think if you just take a look at the operator lineup, you probably could have assumed what this defense is. A very linear hold, a turtle down on site. You've got Call waiting down here inside of dirt to try to fend off anyone from taking this control. Hostile actions with only a single hard breacher is a bit of concern. You have Zag with some additional hard breaching utility, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. You can open up a hatch, sure, and maybe get open one of the dirt walls, but you're going to be kind of hamstrung, and you're going to be forced to push through a couple of chokeholds, something that I think Lycus Empire are about to bank off of, and they know this is going to be successful. Here we go from the drone denial. The mute jammers have been successful in their goal to stall the initial push from hostile actions. This is the big hope when you play down on a turtle-style defense. You have to waste some time at least off the clock, and Lycus Empire with the mute jammers make the perfect change in order to get that done. Maybe Amazi would have stalled them out a little bit further, but with the understanding that we've already established not the most surplus of hard breaching utility, hostile actions really have to pick and choose.
Yeah, like you said, we do have some, but very limited of that hard breach, and we do have the hard breach secondary gadget coming through from the Capitao, and that will be enough to open up that Moto hatch. So looks like that main stairs take is looking like it's going to come through once again. We're going to have Limbo here prepping some holes to, you know, establish full control of this hallway as long as possible, at least to get that eventual Church pressure mounting. As far as our defensive presence goes, they're really bunched up in Arsenal right now. Not exactly sure exactly where the push is going to go down, but those Zofia impacts will reveal the intentions of the attackers. The C4 from Braxton not going to bear much fruit. Another, is that a breaching charge from above going down? That's going to open that rotate there over into Arsenal to establish that line of sight to prepare to prevent a crossfire from being established onto the players pushing down main. But Defiance is going to be looking to do that. The Selma charge going to actually go down despite the impact trick. Peep's going to get very aggressive swinging this already, but denied. The M590 of Braxton's going to be just enough to shut that down, but one player has snuck up into Moto, and that's going to be the Capitao getting gassed out of here, but needs to be very careful of his position. It will be known, and Braxton will find it. 8 seconds to go. Dom finds one, but Braxton, the triple kill to answer, and then Limbo and Dom will pick up some kills, but Braxton with the 4K, he's on for the ace, and he will not find it. The time ran out in the end. I believe that was simply the 4K for Braxton, but nearly, just nearly, the ace on the round.
That wall push, the lack of the hard breach just punished them so much. And I'm quickly rolling back through the VOD because I wasn't sure whether or not that was the impact trick from Defiance, or my assumption was that Peeps' lifeline grenade actually broke some of those Selmas, allowing for the mute to hold close at the wall. If that was the case, it was the lifeline. We just got a confirmation from production. Such a huge mistake. And, oh, that is just so sad. You can't make a mistake like that. If you go for a push that is entirely defined by the main stairs moto pressure with the sole objective of progressing to get open the church wall, you can't have 2/3 of your hard breaching fail to open that wall because it was destroyed by your teammate.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate is definitely the word for that one. I mean, there's not much you can do other than just, you know, bury your face in your hands and be like, oh God, oh God, that is an unfortunate error. And really, it's unfortunate that the push came down to that crucial moment. I mean, it all unfolded to that 15-second push, getting in as much as they could, but Braxton just solo shut the entire thing down, enabled almost completely because the wall did not get open. That, I mean, yes, one part got open, but the part that Braxton was prone behind remained hard, and that enabled the 4-piece to come out from the king. And it was just unfortunate the way that one went out for Hostile Actions attack, and just like that, it will be match point now, 6-3 in the favor of Lycus Empire.
Here we go, the opportunity for Lycus to take their opponent's map pick and to progress to Theme Park with a huge advantage of the momentum in their back pocket. We'll still see Hostile Actions attacks in these previous 2 rounds, this one and the one prior, be defined by a single secondary hard breaching gadget and Devils on the ace. Lucky for Devils, I don't think we'll be seeing any lifelines in use outside of the main platform wall just so early into this round. In fact, the Zofia is somewhere else, and she'll get a kill onto Twist. I want to say that was on an aggressive peek from down inside of Lounge. We still don't know where that corpse, the cadaver of that player, may lie. The wall will now be open because of the lack of any utility to prevent it. Likely a mute jammer was misplaced or broken entirely by the Hostile Actions push. More Selmas will be used, so now you've got an avenue to hold off the rotations. Braxton in a tricky position, holding behind the bomb chassis. It's likely if he rotates, he'll be cut down now the Devils has rotated up a stable platform outside of the main wall. But the walls have not been successfully opened to a point of which you can move in from that angle. It's a kill from Zag, trading back the death of the Zofia.
Well, because the remaining Selma was denied by that impact from the Malusi, it now needs to be a full Rafters take or a construction take, and just using this as a sightline to lock off CCTV. It appears that the garage take and that take from the window is going to come through, especially now as that Rafters player was cleared out by the Capitao. And so now with about 50 seconds to go, we will see our attackers start to group up there, but Defiance will be holding this position strong in construction and maybe looking to get a bit more saucy with it, getting closer up to this window, playing it more aggressive. There'll be a player out there to be wary of, but it appears that Limbo will be headed down towards the garage to join Devils on the approach. Devils now, with a diffuser in hand, has the opportunity to hop through this window and potentially go for a plant. We do have one C4 in the hands of Braxton to potentially deny it, but that's going to have to be a pretty good throw. I mean, it is prepped as Dom finds the head of Defiance. Smokes come through with 30 seconds left, but Dom doesn't even care. He'll find the head of Braxton, and just like that, it's going to be up to the SMG-11 wielding Smoke. He's going to have to find 4 attackers or play this time. A lot of shots coming his way. The headshot delivered onto Dom. That's going to shut down the Twitch, who's been so successful this round. The final Toxic Babe will go down. Not going to do damage to the planter, though, as it went all the way through the rafters. And so the plant will go down, and now it's a post-plant situation.
In the 1v3, this is winnable, but not with so much external pressure, and a simple swing from Devils will mean the end of Call's Road. Hostile Actions will take this attack. something good for them, alleviating this match point pressure, but it still remains. The fact is here, Lycus have the opportunity to close this out even further. Because of them progressing to this match point, they have eliminated the possibility that Hostile Actions can take a decisive 3-point win. Should they come back, sending us to overtime and taking it there, they would only be able to collect 2 points minimum. And that's not where you want to be. Clubhouse could progress even further. We'll have to see if the overtime dream can come true. Jim, coming up next, the tertiary bomb site. Jonah, what's your take on this?
Well, last time we saw this site, it was a pretty clean win from the side of Lycus, if I'm not mistaken. I think they went here after their first unsuccessful church attempt, and they took it with relative ease, I think. And so, going into match point again here, I do think Hostile Actions are going to need to pull something crazy out if they're going to want to take this one. We did see a subtle extension in construction. We didn't see that full CCTV and cache extension like we did last time. And for now, it looks like we're going to see a similar setup from Lycus. But what I'd like to talk about every time I cast is how important making those adaptations are. That is what separates the good teams from the better teams, from the top teams in Siege. How are you going to be able to make them changes mid-game, in between rounds, to make the adjustments on the fly and take some rounds, especially when you're on attack? You know what Lycus are going to bring, and it doesn't appear they're changing it up whatsoever. But now it's Hostile Actions who need to find some way to defeat this very successful defense here on Gym and Bedroom. Find those chinks in the armor that I talked about earlier. Find those opportunities to seize, and if they can do that, they could very well take this to overtime because they've shown serious promise so far. But it's going to come down to this round, and if they can figure out exactly how to capitalize off this Lycus setup.
Dom sneaking in from CCTV, now inside of Cache. Maybe he'll look to get a kill onto one of the players holding inside construction. A surprise play could certainly bear him some fruit. You've got Twist down on the roam. Peeps may be aware of this, breaching open stock wall, looking to get a deeper angle, but it seems like Dom does not push the issue in trying to crouch walk into construction, aware that Lycus have a sufficient cross angle with the player holding the Vulcan shield inside of logistics and Defiance hiding in the corner just next to the threshold. Peeps is gunned down on this horizontal play, attempting to clear the roamer. It is unsuccessful, and Twist will propel his team to a one-man advantage. Zag, with the wall open, can now move inside of Cache. Defiance still creeping around the wood stacks. It's a difficult angle for Zag to make, especially with this Vulcan shield proning out. There goes Defiance. Spots the back. He's trying to shoot the flame bolt, the Capital crossbow, off the back of Zag. Fortunately, that is not part of his hitbox. Now Defiance, with being pressured outside of the master bedroom balcony, is tucked in the corner. He could get lucky if this isn't drone. Maybe he'll get one kill off of an easy angle. There it is. Just one tiny bullet to enter the head of Zag, now meaning that the Capital will touch the ground. Devil's moving further. He's dead as well, but it's call on the different angle from inside logistics. Lycus Empire look to be primed and ready to push this out of overtime territory and into a 7-4 victory. With only 2 remaining attackers here for Hostile Actions, they have to make some sufficient changes, but it will be so incredibly difficult. A no intel jump out, as some would say, from Defiance earns him his death. That might not be enough to change the course of the round, though, and the match entirely. With only 30 seconds remaining, the diffuser out of their reach, recovering this and progressing to the objective will be a monstrous task. Still with a Banshee in the path, and a Cade waiting inside logistics. It looks like we're all done here.
Braxton will pick up that kill on a Dom, and looks like Limbo gets the down, but Hourly with the swing, with the Alda, will deliver the headshot, and Lycus Empire will take Clubhouse. It definitely got closer than I think they would have liked, especially on their map pick, but 7-4, it's a decisive victory in our books, and that will take them, get them those points, those 3 points, and move them ahead to our next map in that victorious position. It's now, I really like what we saw overall from Hostile Actions. I think, they showed, real promise in some areas, but it just didn't click all the way. And Lycus Empire, despite making a couple of mistakes there, especially some positioning of Defiance that was questionable, they won it, and they won it pretty handily.
For sure. And I just want to provide some earlier clarification. Lycus are so well prepared on Clubhouse. They have a lot of different strategies, and their strat book on Club is probably the most well-defined out of any of the maps that I've seen them play, and I guess that does give them a bit of an advantage on the map, why they would pick it to face hostile actions here and bringing in a couple of new strategies. I like the one we saw in the bathroom with Braxton. Unlucky for him that he forgot about the drone hole. I don't think he would have predicted that, setting up that strategy, but we saw Limbo. He droned it out perfectly. He waited. He got his freebie, and that was a little boost of confidence for hostile actions. Before we get to dive into Theme Park, the decider map in this series, we'll be heading to a short 5-minute break, so stick with us. We'll be back with the action just shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us once again. My name is Jays Wills, and I am joined by the one and only Sticula. And what we just saw on Clubhouse was some pretty fantastic siege, I gotta say. I think we saw a lot of promise from both of these teams. It was, of course, Lycus Empire who took the win over Hostile Actions 7-4, the ending scoreline on Lycus's map pick. But Sticula, now we are headed to Theme Park.
Yes, we get to progress into the fun map, as I like to call it. Theme Park doesn't get a whole lot of play, and so that makes it a bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes we get some unusual strategies, things that teams have been cooking up in scrims that have yet to see the light of game day, and I mean, there's not much else that you could ask for. A fresh map, one that we haven't seen all too often in SCS. There has been a few games. A lot of those have been fairly momentum driven, as I would describe it. Sort of the team that starts off on the defense will get a lot of things going, and if once you hit that side switch, if you can't hit that mental reset button and get back into your game on your second half, you're going to face a lot of issues here. Lycus on this map have got a long road ahead of them. They're looking to come out on top with a victory.
I do think that it's Lycus Empire who might have their work cut out for them here. I think Hostile Actions, given what we saw on map number 1, could very well take this one into overtime. I think, they showed a lot of promise. One thing I think they missed out on was the adaptations and that ability to pivot mid-round. Unfortunately, I do believe we had a disconnect, so we will have to see how that goes in just a moment, but we will make sure to complete the ban phase here and get those down. We saw the Maverick and the Ace bans coming out first, so those operators, those hard breach boys, will be off the table early, Sticula.
Thermite, I think, is probably the most theme park of all of the attackers. There's a lot of these big overarching walls that you need to get open. Losing the Maverick and the Ace will, I think, cause a few issues now that you're more reliant on Thermite and the Hibana, something that we didn't see in that previous map all too much. The exothermics can be great on bomb sites like Throne and Armory. You need to get open the maintenance, the barrels wall. A lot of those executes are entirely defined by getting open the wall. With the Ace gone, I'm interested to see how this will progress, whether or not we see Hostile Actions begin on their attack, running that kind of one hard breacher and then some secondary hard breach utility style of composition again. Hopefully we can get this final defender in from Lycus Empire in the next few seconds. Otherwise, we will be progressing to that rehost. But yeah, so we've got all of the operators locked in as far as Hostile Actions attack. There we go, Twist. He'll be given the cap can likely to 6-pick onto something different. You do have that Thermite. Interesting to note, the Thatcher is in play, so it won't be the most, difficult kind of, oh my god, I can't get this wall open because, there's something protecting it. At least you've got that easy button of those EMP grenades.
Yeah, and seeing Thatcher on the board is always fun because you rarely get to see Thatcher played anymore, and I think as we get into the Neon Dawn meta, I think it's going to change up just a little bit. Maybe we'll get to see a little bit more of the poor SAS man of Thatcher himself, who just keeps getting banned out. He never really gets to play the game, but I think we will see that happening just a little bit more here. But our focus is now on to the Lycus Empire defensive half. They will be starting on defense as this is Hostile Actions map pick, so they are likely to have that early advantage because of how defensive sided this map can lean. So this setup, we're gonna have to see how it goes down, but it appears it will be going down. Oh my! The banned skin and the kill will start off the round for Hostile Actions in a good way here. Wow.
That's a big advantage, losing your Mozzie. It's undecided whether he deployed all of his pests or not. We don't know. He's disconnected to go fix that skin, but HAS with the immediate man advantage. This will give them a little bit more leniency on their attack because Lycus were opting to go for a roam. You had that Mozzie previously before he left, as well the mute to stop drones from moving in, and you've got Defiance to kind of hang out around here on the top floor. Lycus have got to stall this push out. Getting a refrag would be pretty big because you need to shift this back into a 4v4. Hostile Actions have everything that they need, the hard breaching, the soft destruction, and the flank watch in order to apply pressure to what some people like to call the strongest bomb site on this map. Defiance is still lurking around the west side here. I think he tried to rotate down the yellow stairs, taking a bit of damage, perhaps a wall bang or something else. They'll rotate over towards the arcade side. So still insistent to remain on this top floor, not wanting to give up the control too early. This is one of the big hallmarks when you play on Theme Park. Because it is such a linear map, roamers and wasting time are so important.
Well, we are going to see Defiance on this roll once again, this time on the Vigil instead of that Malusi, which will be passed over to Hourly. We've seen Defiance do this so well tonight, but we've also seen this go horribly wrong with, overstaying their welcome or rotating over into a spot that's already being held by the attackers. But right now, this is already very successful. The time is dwindling away, and Defiance is in a position to get a ruthless flank if timed properly. The maintenance wall, now the focus of this attack will be breached, so that will give the attackers that momentum that they need, that traction at least in this early round to at least get the execute mounting from there into Throne. They do have a wub staring them directly in the face, but Dom's going to deal with that swiftly, and that's going to allow this round number 1 push to start coming through. But Defiance is sneaking around on the roam. I do believe it is called out. No, the Shift W from the Zofia will win the fight. Defiance, unfortunate timing there and not prevailing in that gunfight. But the Zofia Peeps headed over to establish that vertical control, is going to pick up a kill on the way there.
Dislodging the Malusi from inside of Armory, a missed opportunity for the Vigil to find the refrag trade. 25 seconds to go. This will be a bit of a rush from Hostile Actions. As long as they can find this kill and then move things into the refrags, they should be successful, but more time that they waste here confronting the utility will further delay their inevitable execute. Twist will rotate coming in from the Dragon hallway. He spots one. Can he get a second? More and more pre-fires. There, what a double kill. Dom moving in, will down 1. He gets Hourly, making this a double kill now, recovering the diffuser, but stalled by the Malusi. The time is too low. Lycus Empire and Twist with a huge clutch.
And it's a 4v5 theme park defensive victory for Lycus Empire. What a round and what a way to kick this one off. It just came down to that 20-second push, and the flank from the Jaeger was just a bit too much for Hostile Actions to deal with. It was just a couple of unfortunate events followed by some more unfortunate events on the side of Hostile Actions. The diffuser being dropped down, the Ash pushing into sight without the case, and then the Wub slowing the return to the diffuser down in the end. So that is all that had to happen. The 11th man, the clock, came into effect in a big way there for Lycus Empire, despite the Mozzie taking a C4 to the face in the early round. Did not matter, and they took it. They just kept on going.
We're trying to figure out what's going on here with the Mozzie. So Defiance will actually switch. He's not going to stay on the Mozzie this round. That confused me for a second there. I thought he was just going to get another free death. Defiance has got a bit of a break these first 2 rounds, but no. He'll be switching over to the Malusi. Lycus Empire changing their lineup. They are very lucky to take that first round, and you underscored it perfectly. The importance of Twist to come up on that attack. The time was so low that Hostile Actions could not move quickly enough in order to regain the diffuser and go for the plant. Even if they had such a huge man advantage, it didn't matter when you don't have the diffuser in your pocket, because ultimately, Siege, as an attacker, is about defusing the bombs. If you don't do that in the allotted time, you lose.
Yeah, that is as simply put as it could possibly be. You gotta get the diffuser on the deck, and if you don't, you will lose the round. No matter if you can find the frags or not, if all Twiz had to do there was hide, and he hid, and it was over, and that was all he had to do. I mean, he actually was pushing up in the split a little bit. He's something he did not have to do, but it really didn't matter. The round was simply just over at that point. And Braction on the Mozzie once again will be alive so far in this round, and as we get into the action phase, it's going to be Peeps swinging up from control room to possibly get that push going, but Braction will slowly be falling back. He looks for the head of Devils, but Devils will catch Braction first. Once again, the opening pick of the round goes in favor of Hostile Actions, and Braction is once again the first off the board.
Theme Park is not kind to those who play Mozzie now with Braxton dead. They have the opportunity to clear some of this utility. They don't want to make that same mistake of going slow, so slow, and failing to capitalize on the man advantage. You've got to be efficient when you play on Theme Park, because in some respects, like Clubhouse, is a lot about min-maxing your attacks. The same is true on Theme Park. It's often considered to be very defender-sided, and so as an attacker, you've got to be prepared to encounter that. We'll see now the bunk wall opened up, the exothermic detonated with support from the EMP grenade. Hourly holding a not common position inside of the stock room. He's likely to be pressured by Devils, but with the Nomad on low HP, Hourly has about a 50-50 chance to win this gunfight, just so long as the surprise advantage is not on Devils' side. One bullet, very simply, could take him out, maybe even a nitro cell. He's still got one in the pocket. Devils will play keep away, not choosing to aggress closely, likely aware of that explosive hazard that could meet his end. A wall bang from Peeps there will get the kill, a nice one bullet headshot to end his life. And now with the pressure inside of the south room alleviated, it's more of a focus on what remains off-site as well as inside of daycare. You've got Defiance on the rotate, covering the double door entrance from inside of waiting room. You're likely to confront Dom as he tries to push in here, but instead, what he'll do is just hold prone. Not giving them the opportunity to deny this plant, as Limbo will now begin putting it on the floor.
And Peeps will deliver the first person to push on into the post plant. Limbo will find another onto Defiance, and Limbo will clean it up onto Call. The flawless round coming out from hostile actions. That is just the way to respond to a 4v5 defensive win from Lycus the round prior. So that is going to equalize us at 1-1 here, and all hostile actions are going to really have to do to consider this a rather successful attacking half, I think, is just to pick up one more round. I think a 4-2 split in favor of the defense here is more than enough for the attacking team going in to their defensive half to feel good, to feel safe, and to really kick things off. So with that one round under their belt, they're going to be looking to just find one more, and I would consider that a job well done. But maybe this is their map pick. Maybe they have what it takes to even go more. Maybe they can take the 3-3, maybe even 4-2 in their favor, but we're going to have to see how it plays out. Lycus Empire, obviously, they know how to defend this map. They did it despite the disadvantage in round number 1, but heading back to bunk and daycare once again, they're going to have to figure out a way to respond and hold off this push just a bit longer, because that delay didn't work out as long as it needed to in round number 2.
So what do you think is the decision-making process of returning to Bunk's daycare after being dealt a flawless round defeat? Do you think that's maybe, Lycus thinking they can win because if Braxton doesn't die on the opener?
I mean, it's an interesting point there. I also think it could be simply they just do not like their office initiation setup. I mean, maybe they know where hostile actions like to push from, and they're gonna, get control of that east side no matter what early on, and maybe positioning here all the way, a little bit further away, at least from that eastern balcony, is your way of delaying a bit more time. You never really know. I mean, you don't ever like to see a team repeat the same thing twice unless they change something up big, but your point that you mentioned, it does appear right now, at least, that Braxton is going to play this a bit more passively. He's all the way on the west side right now, not really contesting close on a cache quite yet.
A few couple changes to note is the fact that now you have the break room wall reinforced and no more Mozzie. You have more operators to try and slow things down. Oh, Dom! He was lined up on the highlight through the wall, but I think the shield at the waiting room door managed to save Twist from that early grave. They'll defeat the Malusi Banshee inside of waiting room. They can confront Twist now, but he has plenty of ADS to protect him. We can see just there, right of his point of view. If any utility is tossed in here, he has ample time in order to escape. It'll be on hostile actions likely to get a pre-fire going, because he's likely to rotate, run into bunks. If they can open up this wall and then deploy utility to clear him out, he'll be in a dangerous spot. Choosing this very aggressively, Peeps has got a frag grenade in hand with the EMP grenade that will disable the ADS. It doesn't save his life, though. Twist on a very aggressive angle. His gamble will pay dividends. Now the man advantage in the favor of Lycus Empire.
Well, not only that, but we did see a successful bandit trick go down by Hourly, removing one of the exothermic charges. So the last one, the second charge now going here on this top yellow wall, is going to pressure Defiance directly and will be detonated here. So Defiance is now going to run straight on in. Oh my word. Not sure what the play was there, but Dom will shut that one down. Defiance, the madman, just going to head straight into the vault and take some bullets to the face for his troubles there. But Twist will respond, finding the head of Devils, as now Twist has taken a position all the way in Cafe, completely rotated off his initial position behind that deployable, and he could be really a pain in this attack as they start to work their way in. Zag will start to pressure onto this Cafe position that Twist is holding, but this is the time, is just off the board right now, and we're gonna see the kill delivered by not only Braxton, but Twist as well. So it's now Dom in a 1v4 with 20 seconds to go. This would normally be an impossible situation. Dom will find one though, so that's a start, but it's gonna have to find 3 more and has no time to do it, and the diffuser is out of pocket as well. The swing from the Jaeger's coming through, but the headshot's delivered. Now Dom only has to find 2 more, but 5 seconds remain on the clock. The frantic swing, looking for any pre-fire, but it will not bear any fruit, and the defenders, Lycus Empire, will take another round.
Not even Hostile Actions' top-rated player could secure that clutch, as Dom will fall short of making it work, and Lycus, their adaptations worked wonders. That shield at the meeting doorway delayed things for so long. I was initially skeptical that we didn't see Lycus try to extend inside of initiation, a common strategy we see from the defense of Theme Park when you try to hold bunks in daycare, but the attackers apply too much pressure too early and are too quick to clear things out. The shielded position, I think, made the best of what utility was available, and Twist's aggression got them enough kills in order for it to be justifiable to hold. Because of that, Hostile Actions had to try to go for a few things else. You mentioned the bandit trick, which was so good. To keep the initiation to Bunk's wall closed is huge, because then what Hostile Actions have to do is focus on opening a different area of pressure. Their next focus was Cafe Balcony. They tried to peek individually, that didn't work, and Twist got both of the players who tried to move in from that single doorway. Hostile Actions ultimately played so well in round number 2, but the adaptations that Lycus worked in that third round were excellent, and more quick pivoting changes like that could lead them to some more success here for Theme Park.
I agree 100%, Sticula. I think that decision to play a little bit more passively, not fully committing Braxton to the very aggressive swings and the roam, was the smart choice. You have everybody playing back on site more passively, really forcing Hostile Actions to not only get that initial roam clear, which there wasn't any, but they had to take the time to still clear the site, clear the top floor, then, only then, could they really start pressuring onto site. But if you have your utility set up heavily, your anchors just vibing behind deployable shields with substantial support, from some hard breach denial, that is exactly what you have to do. But Hourly and Defiance, oh my word, they're gonna find 2. They're gonna find another, the C4. Oh my god, Hourly, hello? He's gonna find another kill, and right now, we're just gonna have to keep an eye on Thatcher as he is on his lonesome with 5 to find. Wow, what an opening start to this round from Lycus Empire. Oh my goodness.
Zag has been dumped in the wilderness with no sign of direction. He'll try to move in from split. It's likely they have intel in a cross angle. One player holding on the arcade stairs will probably swing. Maybe not, though. The Valkyrie will instead rotate above him. Maybe a nitro cell to drop down through the hatch. Braxton makes an ill-advised decision to swing out the bathroom door, but Defiance from up above will make some amends for that mistake in taking the round. Lycus Empire with a perfect hold, and Hostile Actions could not afford to lose that round. On the quaternary bomb site, as some would say, winning that site is so important, and to see them lose does not inspire hope in my heart for them to progress in these next 2 rounds to close out the half with anything further.
Well, I will agree with you there once again. I think that was a tough round to lose if you're Hostile Actions. It was that was just a brutal way to deliver a round loss. I mean, That was simply early aggression from Hourly and early aggression from Defiance that, well, defined that entire round. It was a minute burned in the round. Not even. It was 45 seconds gone in the round, and it was a 1v5. Four picks were found almost instantaneously, which is something you don't usually say. Not usually, does hostile actions fall for that kind of play from anybody, let alone, some over aggressive or some very eager defenders who are just going to swing you over and over again and just take advantage of some really strong positioning. So sure, the hold was good, but we really never saw how good the quaternary bomb site hold was because we never got that far. The round was over with 45 seconds into the round. But now our focus will shift to round number 5. It will be Throne Room and Armory once again. This did not go in favor of hostile actions last time either. The time was their enemy on this round, with Twist getting a really strong flank and the time just running away from them here. So the adaptation we're going to have to see from them is, one, don't get spawn peaked extremely here by the two very eager defenders, and let the time, work for you a little bit if you can.
Well, there goes Defiance. He tried to crouch out of that little gap, and he was punished immediately. That's the type of decision-making and plays that we need to see from hostile actions, not letting what happened so badly in the previous round, the aggression, the unbridled fights. Lycus Empire swinging for the fences. This round, it will miss, and that's a strike out for Defiance. He goes down. Now the rest of hostile actions will stack up to apply this pressure. Here we go from Braxton, hiding under the desk. Thank you, Rigel, for highlighting this. If they don't drone him, he could get a couple of lucky picks here. I saw this on Twitter recently. He might just try to hide for the whole duration. Here comes Dom. Oh, he doesn't check it. They have no idea that Braxton is hiding below this desk. Not a drone in sight to get this intel. He'll still wait as the rest of the attackers move over by Dragon. You need to be careful. You want to maximize the amount of kills you can get from this, but you also don't want to be too passive so as to allow for hostile actions to get lucky and gun you down. Everybody else will jump in, jump out. I don't know what's going on here. It's a full rotate. Still got Devils on his drone. Braxton will crawl out from under the desk, mapping around the corner. Do they know he's here? He walks up completely oblivious to the player down the hall. That was almost a kill, and a Devil's Dom rounds the corner. Braxton's position is now understood, but with him on the flank, he'll get a second. That's a double kill for Braxton. Failing to check his behind, though, Devils will end his killing spree. The desk spot, only 2 frags, but certainly worth it.
That was an interesting play, to say the least. I mean, he found 2, so job well done, but oblivious to the Nomad standing 2 inches from his flank. So, and a very, very interesting way that one played out. But right now, the man advantage has been equalized. It is now a 3v3 with 45 seconds to go. So the clock is just constantly ticking away and working against hostile actions. They didn't do this well last time, so they're going to have to get this push going sooner, just in case, that delay will come down. The Wublubs are still in play. They still have a lot of utility to burn as they get in this site. And with 20 seconds now on the clock, this push and split is going to be a risky play because Hourly can swing this and shut this down. And that's exactly what Hourly will do. Peeps the first to get relegated to their graves. And now it is a 2 versus 4. The Thatcher looks for one, but Devils get shut down. The refrag does land as Hourly will finally get cut down. But with 5 seconds left, the diffuser needs to be stuck. And now all the defenders have to do is take out the Thatcher before the defuse can finish. And there it goes. Twist will take out the remaining player, and Lycus Empire will be well on their way to another round win.
At 11th defender, or 11th player, the time element, no friend to hostile actions. And unfortunately, Braxton, he really amplified that, turning it up to a whole nother level. Almost missed an opportunity to take out the Nomad. That would have been very punishing for him. He could have gotten just so much more there, and I think it's worth it, and we can't talk about it for too long. He wasn't really focused on watching around the corner. He was trying to progress to Dragon, where he knew the full push was coming from, and it's likely that he had intel from the rest of his team. Hey, they're stacking up inside maintenance. There's one in Dragon. They're about to go for this push, so, crawl out, Braxton. Come on down the stairs and join the fun so you can get a few picks here or there. But Lycus, with another round win, will establish themselves a 4-1. They take this next one, going back to daycare and bunks. That would give them a lot of leeway. Unfortunately, theme park, it is kind of accepted almost that you're probably going to go 1-5. It is not the most balanced map, I will say. The defenders have this huge advantage. Hostile Actions getting that second round on the board was big for them. A flawless victory, the only win we've seen them get so far. Returning to this bomb site, it looks like Lycus will employ this similar strategy, so if Hostile Actions are prepared, if their IGL talks it over and comes up with a counter strat, they might be able to take another win here on bunks and daycare, but it's too early to guess as to what will be the result of this hold.
Yeah, with round number 6 getting underway now, it's going to be, you know, Hostile Actions are going to have to find something here. And Defiance maybe looked like he was going to give a free kill to Hostile Actions there, but thought better of it, just going to prep that window for later. Peeps was fully aware of where that push was coming from. He heard the melee go down, and we are going to head back to bunk, though. It's bunk and daycare. This was the site that Hostile Actions, you know, expertly attacked. They took a very strong round win here the first time they attacked it, but then it was Lycus Empire who made the necessary changes, and they made some very smart changes. They played it more passively. They focused on some bandit tricking, some hard breach denial, and that really, you know, was very successful for them. And now we're seeing a very similar push come in from Hostile Actions. The drones are just pouring in right now, hoping to suss out these anchors and where they're exactly positioned, as John will now take control of office. But waiting for the support of her team now, the Ash will have to just get some drone work going, waiting for the full support now. Limbo will probably open up this wall, but that's going to be easier said than done. The EMP grenade will go down to assist that, because Thatcher is, of course, still on the board. That's going to be too little too late there for Braxton. He's going to have to get out of here. There it goes. It will be blown. He's not going to sprint through it just yet, as Defiance chose to do last time, but he'll be definitely in an interesting spot, and actually could get quite aggressive, as Limbo will go to place this vault exothermic charge down as well. Now that's how you rotate over to top yellow, as the shots from Twist. Oh my. Excuse me. The headshot onto Dom. That's a great way to start, but Braxton will get taken down as well.
Dislodged by the drone and forced to make a play. He's unsuccessful and fails to check the vaulting. Good support from Twist, though, to watch through the wall over by the stairwell in order to take out Dom initially. Losing your spear point is important here on a site like bunks and daycare. With 60 seconds to go, you're now forced to regroup, figure out what the next plan will be now that you lack your Ash, the breaching rounds, and whatever remaining utility she still had after this push had gotten underway. Thermite has yet to really push in. He's got many avenues to get this forward. And with Peeps eliminating Twist, now Cafe pressure is no longer a question, something that they were not able to surmount the last time they went here. Defiance, though, will trade out Devils as he comes up on the flank, hoping that he won't be watched. You've still got the Thermite inside of Vault. Well played comes out in chat as Defiance further burns the clock. Another slow attack is not where you want to be. They've got a flank drone on the yellow stairs, but I fear that won't be enough in order to delay the inevitable flank coming in, and especially with so little time, you can't do much. Defiance still doesn't have the full intel on where these players are, but he will spot the Thatcher, downing and confirming him for the double kill as they wrap around to come into daycare. Peeps will hold the rotate. Gonna get this final kill coming on through. It's Defiance with the triple. The plant is denied to make it a fourth. Lycus Empire will go 5-1 on their defensive half.
Whew. That was quite a first half from both of these teams, but Lycus Empire, I mean, some impressive defensive performances. I will give them that. I mean, really, it looked a bit dicey for them after that second round with Hostile Actions taking a beautiful attacker win, but after that moment, Hostile Actions, Lycus Empire rather, they just flipped the switch. They said, no chance we are losing another round here on our defense. That is exactly what they did, and they stormed ahead with some decisive victories. That last round being another perfect example of that. So going into the second split here, we're going to have to see what they can muster on attack. But still, 5-1 is an intimidating scoreline, no matter how defensive-sided a map can be. You have to muster a ridiculous comeback. No matter how strong they expect to be on defense, this is quite a scoreline to muster. So They're going to have to, figure out something here on defense. I know they can do it. They've shown the promise. They've shown they've got their defensive setups down. But the focus will be if they can chain round after round after round together to get this comeback going and send us, deeper into overtime potentially.
That is a dilemma. And if you're looking at Theme Park from a best of 3 point of view, let's say that like Theme Park is the decider, that's when I think the 1 to 5 is acceptable. But the problem is for Hostile Actions, this is their map pick, and they are supposed to be dominant. Usually on a map that's very defender-sided, you'll have your opponents pick the side that's favored. Right? Lycus Empire don't want to begin on the attack. That's no fun. They're going to give themselves as much of a leg up as possible as they can in order to defeat you on your pick. And because this is Hostile Actions pick, I think you need to be at a 2 to 4 territory, but we must shed the topic of round economics and instead look at what is in play. Hostile Actions running a bit of an extension roam strategy for this initial defense. This is something similar to what we saw from Lycus Empire, just with a little bit more oomph behind it. You've got reinforcements, castle barricades, mute jammers, Mozzie pests. Lots of pieces of utility in order to slow down Lycus Empire and make sure that every inch of the map control they fight for and every opportunity to open vertical control is punished and is forced them having to play a heavy fight. Oh my god, Defiance catches the Nitro out of mid-air. Limbo almost got an excellent kill and Defiance almost jumped right into the fire line of that Nitro cell. But now with the control room wall open, Hostile Actions will have to soon forfeit this initiation control because of the massive amount, the outpouring of manpower. Just so long as they can take control of initiation without suffering too much punishment from the waiting room angle, rather, this will give them a bit of a platform to springboard off of in further disabling and demolishing what remains of this extension hold.
Well, now all grouped up in control room, they'll swing all the way into initiation. Now Twist will find one, but Peeps will have the answer. So now still a 4 versus 4, but full initiation control has now been surrendered, and now the vertical play will soon ensue. Fraction will find one, taking down the head of Peeps, who was that last oppressive top floor presence. Oh no, there's one more player with the M590. Oh, the timing of the look away, but Defiance finds the kill on to Limbo regardless, swinging around atop arcade and delivering Limbo to their early grave. So now it's a 2 versus 4 with Dom and Zag, the remaining players. Dom with a long angle finds Braction, and that's exactly what they needed to do to bring this round back. But only one player is on site, and Lycus Empire are fully aware of it. Defiance will be taken down by that UMP, and so now a 2v2 has been resumed. But only one player on site, with Dom on the possible flank and the possible vertical play coming out. If Lycus Empire execute this properly, they can storm in and take control right now. That's exactly what they'll do. The double swing goes through. They'll find the one. Zag gets taken down, but the response is from just Dom. Now he'll back off and play time as Cal, with the diffuser in hand, is going to take the fight. He'll swing on the angle, but then he'll think better of it. Rotating away, going for the plant behind the pillar. He's got to be careful. Dom could very well swing this, and he will, but Cal with the shots will take down Dom, and Lycus Empire will take the attacking round that they needed.
Match point for Lycus in an insane reaction for Call. He took a risk, baiting the final defender. The Malusi had to push to do something. I thought that would have been all over. After all, you're down in the animation on the floor, typing away at the keyboard, but the Malusi missed the crucial shot, allowing Call the time to react, to get the gun up, and to rejoin the fight. A sloppy execute, but Lycus come through and Call seals it with the clutch. Only one more round until they can close this series out. Not even Clubhouse was this dominant, and it's only a single more attack round. You just have to get one. You're banking on a win in these next 5 rounds where there are plenty of opportunities, even if you start to lose, to make some adjustments, to call strats on the fly, to do anything. Hostile Actions are very desperate, and they have to win these ensuing rounds because you cannot afford to lose here. We already talked about the playoffs race during the pregame, and it doesn't look good for Hostile Actions.
Well, you talk about desperation, and we're headed over to the quaternary bomb site here, the lab site. This is an interesting one. I'm not sure. It looks like we are going to get quite an extension on this first floor, devoting quite a bit of utility to throne and armory here in combination with several castle barricades. So we're seeing quite a first floor extended hold. I don't believe we're seeing any attempt at faking a site. I just do believe we're seeing a heavy extension over to support that lab play eventually. But this site is free right now if Lycus Empire are aware of this and get that intel going. The setup is still, very well underway, and Lycus Empire may be underway pushing on in. That they will, but Limbo shuts it down, and Peeps will as well. Limbo finds 2. Oh, the double kill coming out from Peeps, just taking out the head of Call. So the call I made was right. The site was open. Lycus thought so too, but they got punished for it in a big way. They never had a chance, and now Braxton just running away with a needle in his foot.
There's not so much you can do, and we arrive at a very similar point to the last time we saw this objective played. Nearly a flawless round in that attempt. It's actually flawless here, and very dominant in doing so. Hostile actions. This is a big boost of momentum for them. It's the quaternary bomb site. Lycus made a huge blunder in trying to go for an aggressive push, and Hostile actions well read into it. Their guns were up. They were ready. Everybody was prepared to get the kills that were necessary, and because of that, no 7-1 for Lycus. They will still be on match point. Fortunately, Jay-Z, that's not something you can change. You can't pull around back. You can still keep trying, though. You can keep on fighting.
Yes, you can, and that's what Hostile Actions are going to try to do. I mean, that last round had some promise if it wasn't, if it didn't feel so scuffed or so fluke-esque, I guess, from Lycus that kind of just threw everybody into the same window, and that did not work out super well for them there. Peeps and I believe that was the Zagra Limbo as well with the M590. They just shut that push down very decisively, very decisively. So that means we will be heading back to one of your more expected bomb sites. We're headed back to Daycare and Bunk. So we're going to see exactly what Hostile Actions are going to choose to bring to the table here. It appears that Vertical Extension will once again be the name of the game. We do have Dom rocking that heartbeat sensor of the pulse, so playing from below is going to be their plan, no doubt. And that's why the utility usage and the reinforcement is coming out from below. Last time, we saw this vertical play come through. Lycus Empire just kind of stormed in control room, the full 5-man stack from there, and then worked their way up into initiation. And I have no reason to think why that would not work again this time. And it looks like they will be opting for a similar take.
It's really curious that we haven't seen Office come through at all through this map. I wonder if Office is sort of becoming kind of a similar territory that you would expect from CEO on Consulate, because everybody knows how to attack it. It loses its strength and dominance. Do you think that is, maybe it holds any water, or do you have any other thoughts on why Office is being avoided so much?
I mean, the only reason I could think of is that, not specifically to this meta, but generally Offices is tough because you can get a full, 270-degree crossfire on that site, because the way it's positioned in the middle of the top floor compared to a site like, Bunk and Kids, which is and Daycare rather, is so, isolated. Top Arcade is not a really viable position to push from. You really only have, 1 or 2 places you can work your way in from. You can work your way in from Cafe or Initiation and get your pressure from there. But if you're going into Offices and Initiation, the attackers can come from anywhere, and it's nearly impossible to defend every single position. Ooh, the Bandit trick will be successful for a large majority of those X-Kairos pellets. So good start here for Hostile Actions on this round, but like I was saying, it's that full surrounding of that site that the attackers could get. Is that why we're not seeing that? But I could very well be mistaken.
Honestly, I see a lot of what you mean there. This site is almost entirely focused to the west, One problem I've just identified is the bandit truck was successful while that wall is soft. Defiance at least had an opportunity for a free kill if he shot through the window. I just think he was missing intel, or what, he was maybe hesitant. He doesn't want to die, because if they lose this angle of pressure, that is a bit concerning. He will rotate now, and there is kind of a difficult angle, I suppose, with the fridge being in the way, but Defiance will actually rotate inside a break room now to look forward deeper in the site. He spots the head of Zag. A rotate is unsuccessful, and good coverage from Hourly to make sure that Devils does not earn a freebie while Defiance was mid-reload. Peeps will rotate around, wallbang shots, spray through the wall, does not net anything. But now, as he re-aggresses to take Defiance in the heads-up gunfight, he will be successful. An aggressive sprint through from Twist. Call with the kill onto Peeps. It's just Dom left to try and make this clutch possible. He swings out into the hallway, Hourly with the TK, but Call gets the frag, and it is all over. A 7-2 victory for Lycus Empire on Theme Park.
Well, a 7-2 victory, and it looked clean from them the entire time. I mean, you get out to that 5-1 lead, like you said. It's a tough lead to get back from. That's why you chose to start on defense, and they just stormed ahead. They took 2 attacking rounds, pretty quickly, and it's over. Just like that, the 6 points firmly in their pocket, and hostile actions will not gain anything in terms of your overall scoreboard. They will be remaining down there in the non-playoff positions. But Lycus Empire, they looked good tonight. They really did. We saw great siege from both teams, but Lycus Empire, they really shined when it came down to it. They made really good, effective changes, and that is what I loved to see from them. It wasn't simply, here's our setup, and here's how we do it, and we're going to click your head while we're at it. It was, we understand that you have a good attacker, you have a good defense, but we also know how to make the changes, how to swap where we're coming from, how to really make you adapt your defense or your attack on the fly. They did it, and it worked perfectly, and it was a very good display of their skill as an organization.
Yeah, there was also some just really talented adaptations, some strats they pulled up on the fly, especially that shielded hold we saw inside of bunks and daycare. They knew that their roam extension strategy with the Mozzie was not going to work, and so what do? They focused a little bit around the utility, which helped them out a lot, and it's a strat that I haven't frankly seen before, something they just came up with. They realized that they can't let hostile actions apply pressure from the office wall, vault wall, as well as the bunks wall, and then additionally have the waiting door open for another avenue of pressure. That's simply too many angles to concern themselves with. And putting Diego there, Twist performed excellently. He got plenty of kills. He was tremendous, really, to make sure that never did waiting fall under their control. A good set of points here for Lycus tonight because they won both of these in regulation. That gives them 6 in total. It does not put them ahead of Wichita, but certainly within reach, only lagging behind by a score of 4 points. Should Wichita face some troubles ahead and Lycus take a win next week, it's within possibility that we could see Lycus springboard further and maybe guarantee themselves that first place position, which is still so heavily in contention. I think we will have an interview, though, coming in just shortly with one of the victors. We'll have to wait on the call from production as far as that. But any closing thoughts about Clubhouse? We sort of talked about Theme Park a little bit.
Clubhouse, I think it came back and forth between the teams in terms of like making the changes and adjusting on the fly. I mean, I really like talking about that because I think it is so important. And on Clubhouse, it really did go back and forth. But we will not have to wait any longer for our interview. Here we've got Braxton with us. Braxton, first of all, congratulations on your win. That's 6 points. And how are you feeling after that victory?
I feel pretty good.
Awesome. Well, Stickula, I'll let you take it away.
Sure, my first question has got to be about the prone spot. Inside of Cash, hiding under the desk. What was the plan there?
Defiance got first picked as usual, wasting my time. So I told him I was gonna refrag and hide in Cash because I knew they weren't gonna drill me. And yeah, I just sit behind the table.
It was a risky gamble, but ultimately it certainly paid off. Another question to talk about. Way back in Clubhouse, we saw you guys pulled off a very unusual strategy, a bathroom hold for a church arsenal extension upstairs. It's not something we've seen before, and I will ignore the obvious death through the drone hole. I wanted to get sort of your insight about what that strategy is all about. Is that just denying sort of bar and meeting or bar and the kitchen hall pressure?
Yeah, so Defiance thinks he's smart, and he made this strat where, like, I have a shield to contest kitchen repel. And I constantly plead to him that I am a death, like, guaranteed in the bathroom. But he swears one day it's going to work. And today I got killed with the drone hole. That hasn't happened yet. Usually I push through strip club and I get slammed in like 10 seconds. This time it was through the drone hole because the kid was scared to come inside. He's just trying to make strats because I made the upstairs Goyo strat for gym bedroom. So now he's like trying to be like me and have a good strat, but like his is terrible.
That's good. But you know, coming into theme park, obviously you get the defense first, which is huge because we all understand that theme park is just snooze fest. The defense is way out ahead of the attackers. But tell me about that round one clutch, because obviously you've got the disconnect and then the skin, so you can't really do much about that. What was the game plan behind, you know, trying to waste the time or get the picks to get that clutch and make it happen?
So we always say that we don't play consulate, and I think we finally lost on consulate the other day. Theme park, we scrim the most out of any map. We scrim theme park like 5 times a week. We love that map. So usually our strats are just based off wasting time, like, you know, like every other site on that map. But I was talking to Twist about flanking because Twist was hiding in the bathroom with like 15 seconds left. So I told him to go flank, and he just happened to hit a nice 3K, which was really good for us because, you know, he dropped the diffuser, but he didn't even know that he downed that third guy. He had no idea, which was pretty massive to the round.
Right, yeah, and the attack, I mean, just fell apart after that. You only have 10 seconds. You're not going to be able to run through side and then, you know, have to deal with a Malusi. That's probably, you know, kind of one of those desk slam moments where you're like, come on, guys, you know, that should have been our round. We should have had the advantage. But progressing further, we saw that drug lab round come up, which was probably my favorite throughout the whole match, and Jay-Z was certainly astonished by the events that transpired. Tell me about that quaternary bomb site. What happened?
You talking about when we were attacking or on defense?
When you're on defense.
Oh, honestly, I have no idea. Oh, when they rushed Hourly. Oh, yeah, we put Hourly in sight because he doesn't miss anybody sometimes. And he's like, I think they're gonna rush me. I'm like, well then shoot him. He's like, oh, they're definitely gonna rush me. I'm like, all right, well then shoot him. And he just killed everybody. People like to rush drug because it's really uncomfortable to attack because of the nitros. So like you see a lot of teams, either they're losing or they're winning, they'll just throw it and they'll just go for the rush because nobody really wants to deal with taking the site in general.
Yeah, might as well just get the round over with.
Yeah, that's what we did. We just rushed in and said whatever we have to leave. We just do bodies in 2 windows.
It makes sense. All right, Jay-Z, I'll go ahead and give this one to you.
I only got, you know, one other question before we end this one. Really, your clutch, or your 4K in church, playing prone behind the church wall when that breach came through. Like, what was that one like?
So I always post clips of me on that wall, and I was like determined to use the SMG-11 because every time I post clips with the shotgun there, it's like not impressive because I have a shotgun. So I just play with the SMG-11 instead. But you guys saw they impacted that wall, and I think they went to impact and mute jammer off when just like 2 IQ, and then it broke the pellets, I think, right? Or something on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, it broke the Selma.
Yeah, that was dope. So I just sat in there with my SMG-11, and I'm back on 5.4 now, so I was just swinging that thing.
Damn, well, it worked out for you. I definitely got to say that. You found 4, and it was nearly found the 5th if he wasn't off-site there. But other than that, the only thing, you know, I got is to send it to you. The mic is yours if you want to shout out anybody or, you know, thank your supporters.
I guess the only thing I'm gonna say is that like a lot of people are on Twitter saying that like we have like egos, but like y'all have to understand is that like we're actually trolling. You know what I mean? Like we troll and chat, and like that's it. Like if we lose 2 games or we beat people, like we don't talk about it like ever again, because I make sure like none of us like develop egos. I just do it to troll. So like if you're actually butthurt about the things we say, like just get over it because we're just trolling. You know what I mean? Like we're not a good team. Like we make a lot of mistakes, so we know that.
All right, well, you heard it here first. Well, ladies and gentlemen, well, Braxton, well, once again, congratulations on the swift victory, and thanks for joining us.
See you, man.
Well, definitely insightful there from Braxton to hear that, especially that last bit there. But Sticula, any closing thoughts, man?
No, it was certainly a fun game to cast. Maybe overtime would have been a little bit better and for the game to be a little bit more competitive heading over into theme park, but it's good insight to know that Lycus Empire frequently scrim theme park because they ban it so frequently That's an ace up their sleeve, one that you do not want to let come through. So for all the team captains listening, you better be prepared to not let Lycus Empire go to theme park. But with all that being said, I want to thank everybody for joining us. My name is Sticula. Joining me tonight was JZ Wills, and it's just another fun night of Siege. Thank you. Good night.